Hey, welcome back to One Cup on Tea with the Rev. And yeah, I'm back from a week's holidays. And as you know, well, you can see Peter still crowing outside there. But as you know, you can go nowhere. But anyway, I just want to talk to you about a trip that I did make. And here's a photograph of when we used to go and do the Unchained Gang Hope Run for the children in India. So when I went to India, it ended up that there was once I was out with my friend Ratna Raj and we were riding around India on our motorbikes, and it ended up that we went and I'll just read you the scripture first. In Matthew in chapter 5, in regard to the law, and I'm reading you this so that you can understand the story I'm going to tell you. But in regard to the law, it goes and says, Jesus speaking says, "Do you think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets? I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law, until everything is accomplished. Anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches the commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven." And so what the Lord is actually going and saying is that we are actually supposed to be people who are living not under the law, but as a fulfillment of the law. Our life should be an example of that. And we shouldn't be leading others astray. Well, let's just tell you a little story. As I said, myself and Ratna Raj, my good friend, we were going around India on our motorbikes. And talking about leading people astray. We were riding along a motorway. And the next thing, we went across the motorway into the fast lane. Now, there was nothing thankfully coming, and there was a section of curbs were taken up out of the center island of the motorway, and we went through that on our motorbikes and then went down the wrong side of the motorway. Now, I didn't know where I was going, so I was following him. This is, I can't go and say it was the blind leading the blind, but I was the one who was really blind to all this. We're going now down the wrong side of the motorway, heading towards the oncoming traffic, which thankfully was few and far between. Cut across then the two lanes to the hard shoulder on the far side, where we came to the slip road down to the roundabout. So again, down to the roundabout on the wrong side. Then when we got to the roundabout, we didn't go around the roundabout as you should. No, we went and cut across the roundabout and out the little road that we were headed for to head for home. And this was a shortcut. Now look at the number of traffic violations that the two of us committed in that little trip. Just think about it. If you want to, think about it, well, just rewind this and think about it again. He was leading me astray. And I was easily led astray because I hadn't a clue where I was going. And I don't know what we actually achieved, because we could have just gone straight down the motorway on our own side, come to the slip road, down to our roundabout on our side, under the flyover, and out to where we had come, all legally. So he and I had a big conversation about this, but it was one of my many interesting biking experiences in India. When I think of the law and think of God, one of the things I've been doing, this last few weeks, especially since I've been thinking about Jesus Christ dying on the cross and thinking about the law. Very often as Christians, we think, well, Jesus died on the cross. We've been saved from under the law. The law means nothing to us anymore. We have free to do whatever we want. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Absolutely it is. But no, it's not that. We are supposed to be people who are law-abiding, who live according to the law. We are supposed to be a righteous people, a people who are in an upright place. Not necessarily about the traffic laws that I've been talking about, they're the laws of the land, but in God's law. And so one of the little things I've been doing as an experiment of late is I've just been asking people, and I'm going to ask you this question as we're having our cup and tea. How many of the 10 Commandments do you know? It's an interesting question. I have been discovering that, well, very few people seem to know any of the 10 Commandments, or very few of the 10 Commandments. So if we don't know the law, then we're living according to our own rules and regulations, so we're living in a lawless society. Lately, a friend of mine lost her husband, and she very kindly invited me to the funeral via YouTube, seeing as the numbers are smaller, and I was really blessed by it. And what I liked was they had a drive-through past the GAA club, which he was very involved with, and they drove in with cars, and they stopped up, and the main guys out there were standing socially distanced with a microphone outside and just shared their thoughts. And they went and talked about how this person is now before the great referee. The referee is someone who upholds the law. Jesus goes and says, I'm not removing the law. There's not one bit going to be taken away. I am the fulfillment of the law. How often, though, we do actually treat God like a referee. Look at any football or hurling match. The poor referee gets some doing. He's always getting roasted by the players. There's always that sense of injustice. How dare he blow the whistle? How dare he call a foul? How dare he do this? How dare he do that? And it's very often, it's not how we treat God. God is a killjoy. God is the one who goes and ruins our life. Really? I don't think so. When I look back over my life, I would say that God is the one who's given me something to live for. God is the one who's created excitement. God is the one who has given me purpose. God is the one who has given me a vision. God is the one who has kept me on the straight and narrow. Not that that's a boring life, but that's an exciting life, because it keeps me safe from harm, safe from, doing ruination to myself even. It saves me from riding the wrong way down a motorway. It keeps me out of harm's way. God keeps us. That's the law, by the way. But God keeps us out of harm's way. God is the one who has given us his law so that our life can be wonderful. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Living according to God's rules brings freedom. I hope you enjoy that freedom. Go on down the motorway the wrong way on that motorbike in India. It didn't bring freedom. It brought fear. Just think about it. Thanks for joining me for a cup of tea. Hopefully next time I'll be able to actually have an opportunity to go on a holiday rather than just reminisce on old ones.